Welcome to Knockout Crypto. Thank you for following our channel. Um, Knockout Crypto can be found on Instagram, Twitter, and YouTube. At YouTube, we're at Knockout Crypto. On Twitter, we're at Knockout Crypto. On Instagram, we're at Knockout Crypto. Subscribe to the channel for the latest crypto news and also for in-depth information that you won't find anywhere else on the crypto market. I'm going to bring this to you guys today because I believe that this is a big reason why we're seeing the price of Bitcoin fall so much in the past week. If you don't know, Bitcoin has fell the past week 31%. And just today, Bitcoin has fell 12% to $3,769. Past week, 31% Bitcoin is down. And I just want to bring this to you guys because I think this is a big part of why Bitcoin is falling. So after Friday's SEC actions, experts say the ICO party is truly over. The big run-up that we had in 2017 was caused by ICOs and people buying Ethereum, which is now at $110. The price of Ethereum is $110, the lowest it's been in a year. And I think it's because the big run-up was because people were buying Ethereum to get into ICOs. Ethereum was 90% of the projects in crypto were based on Ethereum, and Ethereum is, in the past week, Ethereum is down 36%. The past month, Ethereum is down 44%. And for the year, Ethereum is down 76%. So Ethereum is down a lot. And I think the ICO boom is over, and ICOs are dead. So I'm going to give you guys some information why I believe ICOs are dead, and why I believe with regulations we're moving to a whole new phase in the crypto market, and why ICOs are there. So after Friday's SEC actions, experts say the ICO party is truly over. The U.S. Securities and Exchange Commission has compelled two crypto startups to register their token sales as security offerings. It is the first time the SEC has pursued such an action without additional charges of fraud. In a pair of orders published Friday morning, the SEC announced it had settled charges with Carrier EQ Inc., otherwise known as AirFox, and Paragon Coin Inc., wherein both startups would register their tokens as securities, refund investors, pay penalties of $250,000, and file periodic statements with the regulators for at least the next year. In like last week's settlement with Zachary Colburn, founder of the decentralized exchange Ether Delta, this seems to be a harbinger of things to come. Nick Carter, a partner at Castle Island Adventures, a venture capital fund focused on blockchain startups, believes that the regulators is building up a body of case law against unregistered security offerings and bad actors. It is really hard to say or predict what the SEC is going to do, but from what I understand from their strategy, they're going after the slam dunks, the low-hanging fruit, the cases where it's clear that there's going to be a profit made with the token, Carter told Coindesk. Friday's orders seem to support that theory. According to Stephen Polly, a lawyer with DC-based law firm Anderson Kill, based on the way they are worded, Polly said the orders would appear to apply that 95% of all token sales in the last 2 years. In fact, the language is identical in a couple of places, he added. The footnotes are identical. I would say it definitely looks like a template to me. Later on Friday, the SEC itself published a statement explaining its roadmap for regulating initial coin offerings, crypto exchanges, secondary market trading platforms, and other entities that facilitate token transactions. Perhaps most notably, the U.S. regulator stated that there is a path to compliance with the federal securities laws for startups issuing tokens, even if issuers have conducted an illegal unregistered offering of digital asset securities already. Pally pointed out Friday's orders went through a pretty standard Howey analysis, referring to the three-pronged test used to determine whether an object offered for sale qualifies as a security. The Howey test specifically looks for an investment of money in common enterprise, meaning that more than one party has funds tied up in the venture and an expectation of profits, says Casey Jennings, a senior associate with financial services law firm Stewart Kissel LLP. Importantly, Pally noted while previous orders against ICO startups have included allegations of fraud or similar misdeeds, Friday's announcement did not. For companies concerned about whether they may have violated securities laws, Pally recommends checking with a lawyer. Pally went one step further, advising ICOs to move away from their tokens immediately. My advice to all ICOs would be to get ahead of the game, close up shop, delist the token, and get everyone their money back, and pursue a normal business model that does not require a token. Read that again. My advice to all ICOs would be to get ahead of the game, close up shop, delist the token, and give everyone their money back and pursue a normal business model that does not require a token. The SEC has been ramping up its efforts as it charges or settles charges with different startups, Pally noted. Anthony Tucci, a partner at Stewart and Kilso, agreed, noting that the SEC has ratcheted up the volume of its actions. The DOA report, for example, outlined the SEC's views but did not take any actions against the organization, though this may have in part been because of the DAO had already refunded investors, he said. Parley noted that the following the DAO report was Munchie's order from 2017. At the time, Munchie agreed to refund all of its investors but was not required to pay any penalties or fees. They are tightening the screws a little bit. The SEC statement Friday recommended that projects reach out to legal counsel as well as the regulator itself through its FinHub project. Actually, refunding investors may be an issue for some ICO projects. Carter noted that Paragon and AirFox were both able to provide full resuscitation to their investors, but not every ICO would be able to do that. Even when startups have kept all of the tokens they raised during their sales, have lost money in terms of the US dollar due to the bear market, he noted, meaning they may have difficulty paying investors. From an investor perspective, Carter noted, what matters is that the notion of ICO is pretty debunked as a fundraising method, and we could go back to things that make sense for investors. He concluded, I guess it's going to take the market a while to realize that the party is over, but the party is truly over. Key things: delisting the token, that would mean the token would have no value, giving everyone their money back, pursue a normal business model that doesn't require a token. So all of these tokenomics and token models are useless. These tokens are worthless. I guess it's going to take the market a while to realize the party is over, but the party is truly over. Wow. This is really what's causing the market to react so violently, especially in the past week. If you look at the past week, you just see the violent selling. Everyone's just selling their tokens right now, just selling their tokens as fast as possible. And that's why we're seeing this big 31% drop in Bitcoin and Ethereum. So I'm going to read the SEC Paragon ruling could send many crypto ICOs to bankruptcy. The most recent crackdown on two initial coin offerings, ICOs, Paragon and AirFox, by the U.S. Securities and Exchange Commission could lead to many blockchain and crypto projects declaring bankruptcy in the coming months. As CNN reported on November 16, Paragon and AirFox were ordered to pay a $3,500 fine to the U.S. SEC and refund investors who participated in the token sale. The problem for the two tokens is that they have been asked by the U.S. SEC to refund $12 million and $15 million respectively to investors, and since their ICOs, the prices of cryptocurrencies, including Bitcoin and Ethereum, have declined substantially, and blockchain projects have been used, most of the funds garnered in the token sales to fund operations. Both companies have agreed to return funds to harmed investors, register the tokens as security, file periodic reports with the commission, and pay penalties. The bigger issue, a more serious issue for ICOs, is that the SEC reaffirmed in this document, investors in ICOs considered securities under the existing guidelines of the SEC have the right to sue projects to be compensated for their losses. As such, if an investor invested in a token and recorded an 80% loss, for instance, the investor is technically eligible to file a lawsuit against the initiator of the token sale to receive the funds back. On a date no later than 60 days, calendar days distributed by electronic means, reasonably designated to notify each potential claimant, notice in the claim form, both of which are being informed not objected to by the commission staff, informing all persons and entities that purchase RPG potential claims under Section 2 of the Securities Act, including the right to sue to recover the consideration paid for such security with interest thereon, less the amount of any income received thereon upon the tender of such security for damages if the purchaser no longer owns the security. Upon the crackdown of the Paragon and AirFox, Stephanie Avion, the co-director of the SEC Enforcement Division, heavily emphasized that the SEC will continue to investigate token sales that have violated federal securities laws with the intent of bringing down ICOs considered as securities by the SEC. We have made it clear that the companies that issue securities through the ICOs are required to comply with existing statutes and rules governing the registration of securities. These cases tell those who are considering taking similar action that we will continue to be on the lookout for violations of federal securities laws with respect to digital assets. In the U.S., at least, tokens and ICOs have two choices: either to completely block out investors from the U.S. participating in ICOs, or to cooperate with the SEC to distribute tokens as a registered security. There are several regions, including South Korea, that are considering the legalization of ICOs to facilitate the growth of the local blockchain sector. Past ICOs that have initiated token sales for U.S. investors could be vulnerable to class action lawsuits demanding payouts for the losses investors suffered through the last 11 months of the bear market, which could lead many ICOs to bankruptcy. Whoa! Did you guys just read that sentence? Let me read it back to you. Okay. Past ICOs. Okay, so let me read it back to you. Past ICOs that have initiated token sales for U.S. investors could be vulnerable to class action lawsuits demanding payouts for the losses investors suffered throughout the last 11 months of the bear market, which could lead many ICOs to bankruptcies. In the U.S., at least, tokens and ICOs have two choices. You can either completely block out investors from the U.S. from participating in ICOs, or cooperate with the SEC to distribute tokens as a registered security. There are several regions, including South Korea, that are considering legalization of ICOs to facilitate the growth of the local blockchain sector. Past ICOs that have initiated token sales for U.S. investors could be vulnerable to class action lawsuits demanding payouts for the losses investors suffered throughout the last 11 months of the bear market, which will lead to many ICOs to bankruptcy. This is what we're facing right now. A lot of these projects could be going bankrupt because the tokens are not worth anything anymore. So, and this is the crisis. After $30 billion invested, most crypto ICOs have nothing to show. Over the past 2 years, initial coin offering projects in the crypto market have raised more than $30 billion. Yet most ICO projects have little to show, especially pertaining to user growth, blockchain adoption, and overall user activity on decentralized systems. It will only get worse. A handful of tokens have demonstrated success in establishing clear vision, growth path, and valid use cases of blockchain technology that benefits users. Binance Coin BNB, for instance, which already operates as a base cryptocurrency of the Binance exchange, will be extensively utilized to process peer-to-peer trades upon the launch of the Binance Decentralized Exchange (DEX). Tens of thousands of merchants have also recently started to use BNB to accept crypto payments. 0x or ZRX, the native cryptocurrency of the 0x Decentralized Exchange Protocol, is necessary to facilitate liquidity amongst many decentralized exchanges that operate on top of the OX protocol. While there are several tokens in the market that represent viable applications of the blockchain, the vast majority of projects have ambiguous roadmaps and long-term strategy. As Ubersen Gellerman said, after $30 million invested in the past 2 years in ICOs, there isn't a single crypto app with real user base for anything other than speculating on crypto. The BTC price movement is tough, but the lack of real user base for anything they're investing in is even tougher. With regulatory hurdles set forth by the U.S. Securities and Exchange Commission, the ICO ecosystem will be even more difficult for innovators and projects. This week, the U.S. SEC cracked down on 2 ICO projects called Airfox and Paragon, characterizing their token sales as unregistered security offerings and requesting the 2 tokens to refund all of their investors. They have also agreed to compensate investors who purchase tokens in their illegal offerings. If any investor elects to make a claim, the registration undertakings are designed to ensure that investors receive the type of information they would have received had these issues complied with the registration provisions of the Securities Act of 1933 prior to the offer and sale of tokens in their respective ICOs. The U.S. SEC emphasized that it is in support of blockchain and the usage of newly emerging technologies, but the Commission stated that the market participants must acknowledge and adhere to local regulations. We wish to emphasize, however, that the market participants must still adhere to our well-established and well-functioning federal security laws framework when dealing with technical innovations, regardless of whether the securities are issued in certificate form or using new technologies such as blockchain. The importance of the bear market. The bear market of 2018 will filter good projects from the bad, and those that survive will be projects that have a clear vision, roadmap, active user base, and a competitive model. I'm going to read that again. I think it's important. A lot of people miss out on this. The bear market of 2018 will filter good projects from the bad, and those that survive will be projects that have a clear vision, a roadmap, active user base, and a competitive model. As the capital in the market drops, investors who previously invested in every project in the market will become more cautious, and it will be challenging for token sales without competitive strategies to appeal to the public. Over time, as investors learn to conduct due diligence and the market evolves into a more competitive sector, underperforming projects will naturally see a decline in investment opportunities, user activity, and demand. And this is just another article about the Paragon, and the Airfox. So Nick Carter says that the case that the SEC did against Airfox and Paragon This is going to happen hundreds and hundreds of times in the next 2 to 3 years until all the ICOs are gone. These are the Commission's first cases imposing civil penalties solely for ICO securities offering registration violations. And we already talked about the companies returning the funds to investors, registering the tokens as security, file periodic reports with the Commission, and pay penalties. It is obvious that this is the stance that the SEC is taking, and this is where we are headed with these tokens. So a lot of these companies will be bankrupt because they have to refund all of the ICO money back to the investors, and a lot of that money has already been spent. And there's also been a huge drop in SEC funding. So the SEC crypto crackdown precedes 48% drop in ICO funding. The amount of money that initial coin offerings attracted in the year's third quarter fell significantly compared to the second quarter. According to a report by crypto market firm ICO Rating, the amount that was raised via ICOs from July to September reduced 48% compared to what was raised from April to June this year. During quarter 3, more than half of ICO projects that were announced only managed to raise up $100,000, while only a tiny number got listed on crypto exchanges. Of the 597 projects which were staged in the third quarter, only 24 got listed on exchanges. 57% of ICO projects announced in quarter 3 were not able to raise more than $100,000 USD. Only 4% of all ICOs were listed on exchanges, says ICO Rating. Only an idea. The 10 largest ICOs in terms of funds raised quarter 1 and quarter 3 2018. The projects shown in this chart have raised more than 70 million USD. 2 of them, EOS and Telegram, are ICO unicorns. And as you can see, EOS raised $4 billion. Telegram almost $2 billion, but after that you have a lot less tied to UOB, Bankrupted, or PumaPay, Innovi, Flashnomi, London Football Exchange. The report also noted that more than 3/4, approximately 76.15% of the startups that were raising money were only armed with an idea rather than a functional product. Listen to that. 75% of these ICOs don't even have a product. They only have an idea. This was an increase of 18% from the second quarter. Unsurprisingly, the category of projects constituted the highest percentage of fundraising initiatives that were successful, with 72% of such projects at the idea stage failing to raise more than $0.5 million. On the other hand, approximately 10% of the projects had a minimum viable product. Meanwhile, 5.5, 4.7, and 1% of the projects were in beta, alpha, and cold phases, respectively. Only 1.3% of the projects had a release stage product. Unlike in quarter 1 and quarter 2, when ICO unicorns EOS and Telegram raised more than $1 billion, in quarter 3 the highest amount that was raised by the individual project was slightly over $70 million in the case of London Football Exchange project. This was the only project that managed to feature in the top 10 fundraiser list for the 3 quarters of this year. There was also little to cheer about during the quarter for investors. With 597 projects reviewed, the median return from tokens was minus 22%, with 79% of tokens trading below their ICO price. According to the ICO Rating, there are multiple reasons for the disappointing quarter. The market in quarter 3 showed signs of overall disappointment in traditional ICOs as a means of venture financing. The crypto markets analysis company wrote, this has multiple reasons behind it: a significant drop in returns for ICO participants, an increasing lack of transparency for ICO teams and projects, an overall market downtrend, the fact that investors became more experienced and prudent in their decisions, regulation activities, and lack of new ideas from project teams, and not so fast pace of actual blockchain implementation in the traditional market. So we're already seeing a huge pullback in ICO funding already before the SEC came with the crackdown with the hammer a few days ago on those 2 ICOs. I think the one way I think that you're going to see around this is a lot of ICOs are going to go to different regions like South Korea or, another country. Another way around this is they could go to go through regulations and register as security with Polymath or some other sort of security platform. So I will look at Polymath as an option here. I don't know how much Polymath is today. I know that we are experiencing a huge red day, or we haven't got to Monday and we're experiencing a huge red day. But I want to see what Polymath is doing, because I think in this, security token platforms are going to be where it's at, because you're going to have to register as a security. They're at 11 cents right now, but you're gonna have to register the security with the SEC. I think a lot of these ICOs are gonna just basically just avoid the U.S. altogether. I think that's what I would do. So I would see a rise probably in Asian regions, South Korea, China, Japan. I think those regions will rise in crypto because I think what's gonna happen is the U.S. regions, because of the regulations in the SEC, the U.S. is going to be unattractive to do blockchain business, and I think you're going to see people move over to the other countries which that have less regulations or more crypto friendly regulations. So you would see the two things I would look for is a uptrend in Asian, China, Korea, Japan ICOs. And I will also look for an uptrend in USA registered securities. I think that's where we're headed in this market for ICOs. But right now, Bitcoin is falling, and it is falling fast. We're at $3,802, down 12% for today. Thank you for following Knockout Crypto. Let me know about what you think about the SEC cracking down on ICOs, and if the ICOs completely dead. Will we ever see ICOs as a fundraising model anymore? And what do you think? How can crypto recover from the crackdown and the regulations that are now hitting it? And where are we going from here? So like the video, subscribe to the channel. Thank you for following Knockout Crypto. Thank you for your support of the channel. Let me know what you think in the comments. I really am interested to hear what you guys think about this. I think this is probably the most significant news to date. And I think it really changes the crypto landscape in the United States for the better. We got a lot of bad actors in crypto, and I think the SEC getting involved is truly cleaning up crypto. So I think this is just a huge step in the right direction for crypto. And I think as people go to security tokens, we're going to have more serious projects with more actual blockchain innovation happening. Thank you for following Knockout Crypto. Like the video, subscribe to the channel, comment. Thank you for following our channel. Knockout Crypto on Twitter, Instagram, and YouTube. Thank you.